All right, so let's get it started. We're going to start off with question one, the practice mock regions questions 2023, 2024. Let's look at number one. It says, which diagram shows the correct position of Polaris in the night sky as seen by an observer in Watertown, New York? All right. So one of the things that we know already, when they're giving us a city that is from New York, we know that we're going to be looking at Earth Science reference tables, page 3. All right. That's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing that we have to keep in mind that they want to know the correct position of Polaris, right? And we said a city's latitude is equal to a city's altitude of Polaris. So if I find the latitude of Watertown, then guess what? I'm also going to find the altitude of Polaris. All right. So let's take a look at page 3 of the reference tables. Let's take a look at page 3 of the reference tables. Okay. So when I'm looking, I see Watertown. Where is Watertown? Let me take a look. And definitely Watertown is located right here. Okay. Watertown is located right here. And so remember, your latitude are all of your numbers, right? That's in the 40s, right? Latitude lines run horizontal. So when I'm looking at Watertown, I see that Watertown has a latitude pretty much of 44 degrees north, right? That is the latitude, 44 degrees north. Now, what do we say about the latitude? If your latitude is 44 degrees north, then your altitude of Polaris, is also going to be 44 degrees. Okay. You see, latitude includes degrees north, right? Altitude of Polaris just includes 44 degrees. They are operating with the same number that they have. So keep that in mind. So when we go back to our problem, remember Watertown has a latitude of 44 degrees north. So that means the altitude of Polaris is also 44 degrees. When we go back to our question, what question am I looking for? I'm looking for the diagram that has Polaris at a 44-degree angle. So which question is Polaris at 44 degrees? And I see it right here, right? I see it right here. Right? So I can see that Polaris is definitely, the dot Polaris is definitely looks to be at 44 degrees. And so the correct answer is choice D. Correct answer is choice D. All right, number two. Number 2 says, at which New York State location is the altitude of Polaris closest to 42 degrees? All right. Well, there is only 2 pages of the reference tables that focuses on the map of New York, and only one of them talks about their latitude. Which one is it? It's Earth Science Reference Table, page 3. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you can have your reference tables with you. Because they tell us that the altitude of Polaris is going to be 42 degrees, what does that mean about my latitude? If my altitude of Polaris is 42 degrees, that means that my latitude is going to be 42 degrees north. All right, 42 degrees north. Because the reason being, altitude of Polaris is 42 degrees. My latitude has the same number. The difference is just degrees north. So I'm looking for a city between Rochester, Mount Marcy, Slide Mountain, and Albany. Which one is closest to latitude 42 degrees north? All right. So when we switch out, when we switch out, all right, let me clear this. There are 4 cities that we're looking for. We're looking for Albany. We're looking for Rochester. We're looking for, actually, you know what? Let me move this down a little bit. All right, let me zoom out. There we go. Apologize. Okay. So we're looking for Albany. We're looking for Slide Mountain. We're looking for Rochester. And we're looking at Mount Marcy. Those are the 4 questions, right? If you take a look on your paper, those are the 4 options that we've seen for number 2, right? Those are the 4 options we've seen for number 2. So I'm going to find out each of their latitudes. So Mount Marcy looks to be a little over 44 degrees north, right? A little over 44 degrees north. Rochester, when I look at the latitude, it definitely looks to be over 43 degrees. So a little bit over 43 degrees north. That's just an estimation. Albany definitely looks to be under 43 degrees, right? If I was to give an estimate, let's say 42.7 degrees north. All right, just like Rochester may have been like 43.1. Rochester was 43.1 degrees north. Okay. And Slide Mountain, however, right where the triangle is, Slide Mountain looks to point directly to 42 degrees north. Remember, which city were we looking for? We were looking for the city that has 42 degrees north because of the fact that your altitude of Polaris was 42 degrees. So my correct answer is definitely going to be Slide Mountain. And so that is going to be choice C. All right, number 3. Number 3 says, base your answer to the following questions on the following map and on your knowledge of earth science. The map shows the locations of Jamestown, Watertown, and Kingston in New York State. An observer in Watertown, New York would see the star Polaris at an altitude of approximately what? Remember that we said it time and time again. The altitude of Polaris is equal to the location's latitude. All right. So what is the latitude of Watertown, right? When I take a look, the latitude of Watertown, it looks to be 44 degrees north, right? That's my latitude. Let me erase that and write it right here. My latitude of Watertown was 44 degrees north, right? 44 degrees north. So what does that mean my altitude of Polaris is going to be? It's just going to be 44 degrees. All right? Your latitude number is equal to the altitude of Polaris. And so the correct answer is choice A. Follow the next questions. Follow the next video to find the rest of these questions. Take care.